White people don't respect nothing but blood and money. See, hands up, don't shoot. Should have been hands down, don't buy. Would mean that black people boycotted Christmas. What if or else meant that black people would make an economic withdrawal for a couple of weeks? The Economist did a breakdown of Baltimore and found that if black people in Baltimore for the murder of Freddie Gray would have just stopped spending money with white people for 28 days, the economy of Baltimore would have been completely shut down. So what happens whenever we go with the justice look like? And you decide not to give us, and we decide to say, okay, well, if you won't give us justice, then we won't spend no money. Then America will, in fact, be shut down.
All right, so I just wanted to set the stage with that. Because what I'm going to get into today, it's a little bit personal, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So that video you just seen was something that I posted like 9 years ago on my Facebook when I had my Black I Stand Radio broadcast and my other YouTube channel. And the point of that is, like, how down are some of y'all really when it comes to being revolutionary and being progressive for our people? How much work are you really ready to put in? I'm showing you right now, that's a bank card from One United Bank, which is a black bank. How many of y'all have a black bank? Because you just heard what Nuri Muhammad said. He said, white people only respect blood and money. In other words, you don't really get too much movement unless you're willing to shed blood or money. I mean, if you're not willing to pull your money from their system, don't really expect too many results. If you're not willing to shed blood, don't really expect too many results. Now, of course, those aren't the only ways. We do have political maneuvers that we can make, which we are actually working on right now. And that's all good. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you think just Twitter posting and making YouTube videos is the extent of what you have to do in order to get progress, then you're wrong. Not only are you wrong, since we're talking about the passing of Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, you're wrong if you will attack her because you don't agree with her politics. But she's passed on, man. She's gone. I'm gonna show you some of the, what I'm talking about. As far as some people who think that they're being revolutionary, they're doing something great by disrespecting an elder who's passed on, but you won't even bank black. You won't even spend your money as much as you can with black. I doubt you've ever stood up against racist militias and went heads up with them, because I have. I doubt you've really put yourself in a position to secure black neighborhoods and black people against threats of white supremacists, because I have. I doubt you've stood toe-to-toe strapped, ready to get it on with police who killed one of yours in the streets, because I have. It's on the news. When the Seattle police killed Charlene Lyles, yeah, we did a protest. Me, my comrades, all strapped. Brothers and sisters from the streets, some of her family strapped. There was thousands of us. And we was ready to get it on. They showed it on the news. Of course, they cut it in a way that wouldn't make it look like black people are getting tired to the point that they're ready to stand up, of course, because they're not going to ever give us that kind of light. And I'm not saying that you have to be about that life or anything like that. What I'm saying is, if you're not, don't think that disrespecting an old lady who passed away of cancer is the way to go. Like, that's really doing something. You're really looking foolish. You're really disrespecting the game. You're really showing lack of class. And maybe I'm a little bit hypersensitive about the situation because I've lost my sister. I've lost family members to cancer. I've lost my sister. I just buried her 3 weeks ago to the day almost. Beautiful. Outside and inside. She was a beautiful person, a beautiful spirit. She was a great mother, a great wife, great sister, great daughter, great person, successful businesswoman. Looked out for the community, looked out for the people, looked out for her people. And I watched her wither away of cancer. I watched her die slowly right in front of my eyes, right in front of our eyes. My point is, there are people, family members of Sheila Jackson Lee, who went through the same thing. And how dare you disrespect their loved one because you didn't agree with the politics? How dare you do that? Let's go ahead and see some of these, what I'm talking about. And Black Alpha Network, if you see this, Tariq Nasheed, if you see this, this is not a condemnation on you. Although I really hope that y'all don't make videos or any other type of expressions that disrespect the elder who has passed. We don't have to agree with her politics. We don't have to have the same perception of her. She came from a different era. She's like my mother's age. Unfortunately, they're gonna stay. My mom, my parents they're gonna vote Democrat, regardless. They're not tapped in. They don't be online and shit. They're not tapped into the things that we're tapped into. They don't have the same insight. They don't have the same perspective because when they grew up, they couldn't drink from the same water fountain. When they grew up, they couldn't go into some restaurants. Sheila Jackson Lee, she was in Texas. My mom's from Louisiana. They went through a different type of racism that was so blatant in your face that to see where we're at now to them is great progress. So they don't have the nuances that we do to say, let's take that from what we have, progressed from to the next level. They may not be tapped in, or they may not have the cognitive resources to even be able to perceive that or to see that vision. They've seen great progress in their eyes in their time. Because they lived at a time, Sheila Jackson Lee lived in a time where she could be walking down the street as a child with her dad, and some little white kid can call her dad a boy. So maybe the HR 40 wasn't what we needed it to be. That doesn't mean she knew that when she first started backing it back then. She was doing something that would have been progressive for that time. Trying to get on some reparations tip. It's up to us to take it to the next level. That generation, for what it's worth, took it to the next level and from what they knew. But I want to show you some of these ridiculous comments, man. Some of this disrespect that I'm seeing. It's just another day for me. The woman never fought for FBAs. This is coming from somebody who probably has never really been in the streets doing anything grassroots. He thinks that supporting a YouTube channel is the work. I'm saying, let's put it in perspective, man, because one thing I hate is these Monday morning quarterbacks who've never really done anything, never put together any programs, never really served their community for real. But then they want to come up and start critiquing other people. That's what I don't like. She's fought for FBAs, maybe not the way we would have. I mean, but she did what it was necessary to do to run for office, to be a representative. And we're going to get into, her accomplishments or whatever. Like I said, I'm not saying that we have to celebrate her. I'm not even saying that, we have to reflect and look at her as being some mighty warrior for our people. Maybe not. What I'm saying is we don't have to disrespect her. What I'm saying is, when I read some of these comments that we're about to read, if I was to replace those avatars and those profile pics with a white supremacist, alt-right racist, and you wouldn't notice the difference, that's a problem. Like, she just died, and the first thing y'all want to do is y'all want to sit up here and start disrespecting her. That's what we do now. like she doesn't have children, like she doesn't have nieces, nephews, grandbabies, some of them who may be tapped into what we're doing, who may respect what we're doing as an FBA movement, who have to come and read some of these comments. That's ridiculous, man. That's some fuck shit, for real. Her family should not have to read these type of comments coming off the death of their loved one. That's straight bullshit, and that's cowardice, and that's a bad look for what this FBA movement is supposed to be about. To her very last breath, she advocated against us. Listen, there's a difference between you not believing that she's doing and progressive enough and doing what we feel should be the next step, because that's on us. She was 74 when she passed. So the progress that she was involved in is actually pretty significant. And if we can't duplicate that in our day, then you damn sure don't have no right to critique and disrespect. Like if she was purposely working against us, if she was a Candace Owens, for instance, undermining our people at every chance, then I'd get it. But we don't do that just for someone who we didn't politically agree with. Good riddance. Too bad, Tether Rubbish. Now, I guess some people say that she was Jamaican. So what? I don't give a damn if she was Jamaican. That doesn't mean that we disrespect her death. She wasn't in the office, you know what I'm saying, doing things to purposely hurt our people. She was doing what she thought in her mind, from her upbringing, from her time, from her mind state, from her perspective, being a 74-year-old, what she thought was progressive and good for the people. I do not believe that she was really purposely saying, how can we undermine black people? How can we set black people back? She wasn't doing one of those. She wasn't going up on, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, she was a Democrat, diehard Democrat. Most people that age would be. But I do not believe that she was purposely trying to undermine or hurt our people. So we don't have to agree with the politics of her. We don't have to agree with what progress is, because to her, like I said, not being able to drink from a water fountain as a child, not being able to eat at a public restaurant, it's possible she wasn't even able to be born at a public hospital, to where we're at now and her being a representative. That is tremendous progress for her. So what's progress for us? It's time for us to take the baton and move it forward. And we don't do that by disrespecting those that came before us. She did nothing to further the progress of FBA in her poor district, belittled her staff, and sold out to railroad conglomerates that parked their toxic cars in the communities. HR 40 was and still is nothing. She only took it over after one of the original sponsors passed. And if I remember correctly, she's a tether assimilator, like so many people that are not like us. Good riddance, and hopefully her undeserved district will have real representation. That's some fuck shit right there. That's fuck shit. She was a good employee to the DNC. So here's what we're doing now. Here's what I'm starting to see too much of. And I said this in the last video I did when I was covering Donald Trump's RNC speech. Unfortunately, or fortunately, a lot of us are jumping from the Democratic plantation. We're starting to see that that's not for us. We don't need to have our we don't have to have an unadulterated commitment for the Democrats. But then it's like, now you want to just be on the Republican plantation when they haven't offered us anything. No. We're supposed to be neutral. We're supposed to be independent. We don't need to be beholden to either party. We're supposed to be beholden to principles, to tangibles, to policies that benefit us no matter who brings them. So if you're going to act like because she was from DNC, now you sound like some alt-right Republican. Oh, she was a liberal Democrat. Fuck all that, man. Fuck both of them. Donald Trump is trash. He just happens to be better than the other trash, Jim Crow Joe. I don't mean that we jump on the dick. But these are the kind of people, though, that feel like they have the right to disrespect a woman who has passed on. God is removing the we shall overcome generation for his let my people go generation. There might be some, I mean, I can kind of get that. I can almost get with that. if you weren't doing that in a way to undermine someone who was just passed. Yes, the older generation, that's just part of nature. But that don't mean that we disrespect. Rest in peace, Tether Mammy. And this is really what we're doing. She did nothing for me to remember her life. Correction, I will remember her time wasting HR 40. Listen, if it wasn't for failed attempts, at least there were attempts of trying to get the reparations movement popping. Even if we don't agree with it, even if they weren't effective, they were attempts. It was something put on the board to at least try, something that we were able to look back at, reconfigure, see why it didn't work, what didn't work, and take it to the next level. The first pyramid was not perfect. They had to abandon some of the pyramids. The first automobile probably didn't work. The first plane probably didn't work. Do you think that the Wright brothers and those who created these things were like, oh yeah, fuck that person who tried to make a car? That shit was, come on, man. You're making us look bad, man. I'm not liking that shit. Let the Jamaicans mourn her. Another immigrant that didn't fight for FBA community, let the Jamaicans mourn. Look, man, I understand that we call out tethers, we call out people that purposely undermine us. There's a difference between purposely undermining us and you just not agreeing with their perspective or their efforts. But you got to put it in context of her being a 74-year-old woman. Talk to your parents if you're my age. If you have parents in their 70s, talk to them. Talk to your aunties. Talk to your grandmas. See what their politics are. It's probably not going to be the same as ours because we have access to more information than they did. We have perspective to look back reflectively the past 60 years. We still have the energy and vigor to continue fighting. They've already done that part. They've seen great progress up to now. Now it's our turn. And if you spoke to some of the elders in your family, they probably would line up with Sheila Jackson Lee a little bit more than you expect. So if they passed, are you gonna now disrespect them because they didn't agree with you politically? Would you respect people that's disrespecting them online if they were public figures and they passed? Have some decorum, man. Have some class, man. Let's be real. That's some coward pussy shit. What have you really put on the movement? What? Click clack on the computer? You may have put up some money. That's cool. You may have put up some money on some grassroots efforts. You may be signal boosting certain messages. That's cool, but you can't compare that to really getting down in the trenches. You can't even compare that to someone who went through the effort of running for office, which is not an easy thing to do, to try to make some type of change. Don't give a damn if she's Caribbean. We're not supposed to be hating on Caribbeans just because they're Caribbean. We're supposed to neutralize those who are actually going against us. So maybe she didn't do what you think is enough, but that doesn't mean that she purposely tried to hold down black people. She wasn't a Candace Owens. She wasn't a Sheriff David Clark. She wasn't one of them. We don't have to agree with her politics, but that don't mean that we disrespect her. And Black Alpha and Tariq, I really hope, I pray that you guys don't come out and make any videos to disrespect her. We can reflect on what she has done and what could be improved on, but unless you can show that she purposely did things with the malice intent to sabotage or hurt our people, do not make any videos disrespecting this lady, man. For real. Like if these were alt-right people posting this shit, you couldn't tell the difference. Well, oh well, she didn't care about us. I don't speak ill of the deceased, but I will say this: she didn't have the best interest of our people, and I'll just leave it at that. She only worked on behalf of herself, and now she is no more. There's nothing to say about her life or death. She is not like me. She never stood for FBI. I won't celebrate her passing, but I will celebrate one less tool that can be used against us. So in other words, you are celebrating. Shit, man. She cooned all the way to the bucket. There's no intention to do the study. It was deflection. You don't really know that. I really don't believe that black Congress people, I mean, it's one thing to say that they put together this HR 40 that didn't really move much. It didn't really get anywhere. It's another thing said that was their intentions. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they couldn't get it moving. Maybe they ran out of steam. They ran out of energy to keep trying to push it. And they felt like they had to work on other things. And remember, in their minds, they went from a time where they couldn't ride the bus where they wanted to. And because of progressive movements, now they're able to be representatives in the U.S. government. That is a great amount of progress for most people. Now, we're supposed to take it to that next level, because you haven't been in the trenches for 40 years yet to know that there's a time where you're going to get tired and it's like, man, you know, it's time for the next generation. Now that the old guard is fading away, we need grassroots. Now, I get it, that the old guard is passing away. And it is time for the new guard. And we are seeing that come into play now. That doesn't mean we disrespect the old guard. That's not what that means. They're preparing to raise up her predecessor, Jasmine Crockett. By Miss HR 40. She did nothing for us. Never liked read a finger for FH. I don't know what the hell that means. I'm just saying, no sympathy for the devil. The devil? Like the devil? Really? With all these white folks doing what the fuck they're doing, you're calling her the devil. Man, y'all niggas, man, bro. You guys are sounding pathetic. Sheila danced a jig going down the Soul Train line in Oklahoma in front of the last 3 remaining Oklahoma firebombing residents instead of fighting for them to get reparations that were owed to them. I'm sorry, I feel absolutely nothing. She wasn't for reparations, oh well. This is just ridiculous, man. Like I said, you don't have to agree with her politics. You don't have to think she was progressive enough. You can believe that maybe she didn't do enough in her later days. She was 74. She had cancer. Maybe she didn't have the energy to do everything that we would want her to do. That doesn't mean we celebrate her death. It doesn't mean we disrespect her death. Just think about what you're writing on these online streets, on these Twitter and YouTube streets. Just consider that her family mourning the fresh passing of their loved one could see these things. How do you not have enough empathy? How am I supposed to believe that y'all really ride for us when you can act like that? When you don't have enough decorum in class to at least let somebody just die and be gone without putting things that would be probably devastating for their loved ones to see. Just put yourself in the position of you just lost a loved one. And then you see a whole bunch of people just disrespecting the shit out of them who didn't even really know them. When that, you know what I'm saying? Stop it, man. So here's Tariq Nasheed. Like I said, this is not me condemning Tariq. It's not me condemning Black Alpha. I'm just saying, but this is what people are putting under you guys' posts, man. So she died with her battle of cancer. Like, you know, I was living in Texas for a couple of years. I believe she came from the Houston district. Might have even been a mayor at some point. But this is what people are saying. There's no honor in selling out the Black Americans under the guise of you're a Black American. When really, you were a Jamaican American. Your policies as a member of the Black Caucus show this. She tried to prevent Black Americans from owning firearms. Let's go ahead and see what she's saying here.
Bill that I've introduced dealing with a caliber weapon. I've held an AR-15 in my hand. I wish I had it. It is as heavy as 10 boxes that you might be moving. And the bullet that is utilized, a 50 caliber, these kinds of bullets need to be licensed and do not need to be on the streets.
If that's what you call trying to prevent Black people from owning firearms, you ain't shit. You're sitting there celebrating Donald Trump. Like I said, yeah, he's better than Biden, but what the fuck does that mean? Biden's garbage. But you're celebrating Donald Trump, but you're disrespecting a Black person. What the fuck is that about? Donald Trump is a racist. Let's not get it twisted. He's a racist. You're not going to show me any 70-year-old white dude that's not a fucking racist, man. I don't know if he hates Black people. I'm not saying that. But he sure don't give a fuck about your Black ass, and he ain't said nothing that's specifically going to benefit us. He hasn't done any work to specifically represent or benefit us. But you'll celebrate him in your profile pic, but then you'll shit on her. Why? Because she says that, hey, high power rifles should be registered. That's bad. That's a bad thing. Because she's saying that they don't need to be in the streets. Do they really need to be in the streets? Like, really? She's from Houston, where there's a lot of gun violence, black on black, not black on anybody else. It's not to protect themselves. Like, if you were gonna really be real, I'm not an advocate for, taking guns off the street necessarily. I believe that we should have guns. We should protect ourselves. But what she just said right there wasn't that she should get all the guns off the street. She said, yeah, if you have a big rifle, you have an assault rifle, should be registered or whatever. She said what you expect an old lady to fucking say. And you're framing it like she was trying to prevent Black Americans from owning firearms. So you're lying. You're a liar, is what you are. Look out of here, man. All right, so she had a picture with Joe Biden. What would you expect a congresswoman from the Democratic Party not to have pictures with the president? I'm just saying, like, remember, this is a 74-year-old. This is someone who was born in the 40s. This is someone that was born at a time where they didn't even have the rights, the simple rights that we take for granted right now. So from their perspective, there has been great progress that she has been part of. Now, if you're not part of taking it to the next level, and you're not out there in the trenches doing anything besides just thinking that you're going to be on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook talking your dumbass shit, if you think that that's the only contributing factor that you need to play, but you're disrespecting other people, you need to sit your ass down somewhere. Be humble, bitch. Sit down. Real. I give my condolences, but the way she sold out and damaged the Black American community cannot be overlooked. Hell no. One thing I'm noticing, let me calm down, man. One thing that I do notice, though, is that everybody that's saying that she did all this terrible stuff to the community, they're not really showing evidence that she did. And I don't know enough about her to say either way. I'm just saying I haven't seen it. I don't know it. If y'all know it, show what she did that purposely, you can say, maliciously intended to undermine or hurt Black people. You can't just say you don't agree with her politics. You shouldn't expect to agree with the politics of a 70-something-year-old. She's seeing it from a different view because she's from a different era. She's from an era when you couldn't just be online thinking you're going to try to make some type of change. You had to get into the trenches. You had to get in the streets. You had to get involved. You had to get in classrooms. You had to get in courtrooms. You had to actually tangibly, physically do something. And here y'all come, where all you do is share a post, retweet, put comments on their videos, and you think that you actually have the right to condemn or to critique people who actually put in work to do what they thought was right. The audacity. Niggas is acting. That's bitch ass nigga shit to me. I wonder if she'll be voting for Biden. So you guys are trolling. This is the same rep that verbally attacked her own staff, causing a very, very hostile work environment. Oh my God. Did she? Look, a little snowflake. She attacked her own staff. Oh, she, as a boss, she may have had to light a fire under the ass of some of her staff, and that is a reason to now disrespect her in death. Nigga, y'all are looking like pussies, man. Y'all making us look bad. For real. As FBA, y'all making us look bad. I cannot support this fuckery. I just cannot support this level of fuckery. Straight up, man. That's ridiculous. We could have cherished her golden years by serving as an asset to Black Americans in her area. Observe now, looking upward at us. So in other words, she's in hell. Without a doubt, I will definitely vote in order to express my displeasure with her and other Democrats at midnight. I'm disappointed. I know Midnight follows me. I follow him too. I'm disappointed. This is fuck shit. Holla. I like spaghetti. Like, this is some fuck shit right here, man. Oh, that's me. I'm the other shit. Yeah, I like that. Very hateful, angry. Look at this. This is what I'm talking about. This is why to be on code means you don't sit there and try to throw people under the bus after they pass just because you don't agree with petty shit. Because here's a white dude right here. Here's what he says about Sheila Jackson Lee. A very hateful and angry person. She always made it well known that she hated all white people. So in his mind, she hated white people. She was angry. So you're actually in line with people like that when you sit up here and disrespect, man. Do you think when white people die that there's going to be a bunch of alt-right, a bunch of white folks on Twitter saying, oh yeah, well, fuck them. Oh, fuck him. Oh, John McCain, forget that. They're not doing all that, man. They'll reserve that shit. They're not going to publicly throw their own people under the bus like that. Especially when there's no need. Like I said, if it was a sister or a brother who passed, who had a obvious public image of doing us dirty, I would understand it. But just because you don't agree with her politics, because you don't think it was progressive enough, you didn't think that a damn near 80-year-old was rah enough for you. Like, are you serious? Come on, man. I could respect this one. Wow, well, if you don't have anything good to say about the dead, then I won't say nothing. Okay, so she doesn't have anything good to say, so she ain't gonna say nothing. That's respect. Well, Mammy would be proud. If I knew she had cancer, why didn't she step aside and help endorse the young black to replace her? She just found out she had cancer last month. You're popping bottles. This is fucking sick, man. Straight up. This shit is why you can't really take motherfuckers serious at this point. And let's go ahead and get to let's see who she was as a representative. Let's see. Full biography. Congressman Sheila Jackson Lee is the Democratic Chief Deputy Whip for the U.S. House of Representatives. She is the author and lead sponsor of the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act, which established the first new federal holiday in 38 years. So she helped bring Juneteenth to, for what it's worth, you know, you could say that's a really nothing, it's symbology, but she did it. She was part of that. She was cognitive enough to say, hey, you know what, we need to make our celebrating our freedom a thing. So I'm not mad at that, even though, of course, most people, if you're grassroots for real, you've been celebrating Juneteenth before it became a federal holiday. And Congresswoman Jackson Lee is the author and fighter for the passage of the Violence Against Women Act, signed by the president for the first time in almost a decade. So being a woman, of course, she's probably going to fight for violence against women, right? She's going to probably push something that's going to protect women. She's a woman, that's her perspective. Congressman Sheila Jackson Lee is an influential and forceful voice in Washington. She is serving her 14th term as United States House of Representatives member. She represents the 18th Congressional District of Texas, centered in Houston, the world's energy capital, considered by many the voice of reason. She is dedicated to upholding the constitutional rights of all people. Okay, let's see if there's any shit that she's done. Congressman Jackson Lee. Major legislative initiatives include a Sentencing Reform Act. So she did some things to, because of Jim Crow Joe and Republicans that pushed that, these crime bills type of things that gave us disproportionate amount of time. She pushed for something to reform the sentencing on our behalf. Were you mad at that? That's something that shouldn't have been done. That's something that we should trash her for. The George Floyd Law Enforcement Trust and Integrity Act. Now, we could say that it wasn't effective. We could say that it's not enforced. We could say it was all inclusive. But that's not her job to enforce it. Her job is to create the law, to get it on the books, so we can have something to work with. The RISE Act, I don't know what that is. The Fair Chance for Youth Act. The Kimberly Vaughn Firearms Safe Storage Act. I think that's what dude was talking about when they're trying to take guns from black people. No, I think what she was saying is that, we have to, at least store them properly so kids can't get them. Shit like that. And the Khalees Law, the American Rising Act. I don't know what that is. So far, I don't see anything that should make you, even if you don't agree with none of this, even if you don't think that these are really effective laws or initiatives, even if you don't think that, Her job is to put them out there. It's not her job to enforce them, right? There's a difference. And this isn't enough to say that you disrespect her because she's trying to undermine black people. That's her doing in her mind what she thinks would be good, changing different laws and putting out initiatives to be progressive and help, right? Remember, she's an old lady. She was born in the 40s. She doesn't have the same perspective or the same goals as us, you know what I'm saying? So that's not enough to celebrate her death is what I'm saying. I'm saying you don't celebrate the death because, I don't like some of these initiatives. I don't see an initiative that's like, oh yeah, make sure you lock niggas up more. And some of y'all are sitting here taping for Trump when he put out ads for the death penalty for the Central Park 5, and even when he found out that they were innocent, he still said, well, whatever, they probably did something, so keep them in jail. But some of y'all have his profile pics, but then you're on here disrespecting the woman who just passed away from cancer. Yeah, that's pretty rich. That's fuckery. She also introduced the Juvenile Accountability Block Grant Reauthorization and Bullying Prevention and Intervention Act. So she's looking out for the youth. The Federal Prison Bureau Nonviolent Offender Relief Act. In other words, if you're not a violent offender, you know what I'm saying? I don't see what about this makes it okay to celebrate her death. She's a champion for women and children, supporting the Paycheck Fairness Act and the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, and introducing an amendment to funding bills that provide for outreach to minority and women-owned businesses concerning business opportunities in the commercial space industry, and authored the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Research and Education Act. Now, I know what some people are saying right now. I know minority and women-owned, minority, that's not specific to FBA. I get it. But this was the terminology that a lot of old folks would use at the time. We didn't understand all the time how specific we had to be. This is something that we recently have been coming hip to. This is our generation's responsibility to change the language and tighten it up. She had to set it off. This generation had to set things off, and they kind of set it off in ways to where they didn't know, I should say, that it's going to be sabotaged and usurped in the ways that they have been. But she's trying to put things on the books that in her mind are going to be helpful and progressive to our people. So to me, the intent was there. She was named by Congressional Quarterly as one of the 50 most effective members in Congress. My point is this, man. And of course, she has a bunch of family preceding her, who likely some of them may see some of the fuck shit that you guys are posting against her. And to me, that's just fuckery. To me, that's not the energy that we really need to be putting out. To me, that's just not, any of the things that I have seen people present. And I haven't seen everything. I don't know everything. But what I am saying is, from what I have seen, I haven't seen enough that I would say would make it right to disrespect her death the way some of y'all been doing. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying she was 100% right, or that we need to mourn her death and we need to march. And I'm not saying all that. What I'm saying is, why the disrespect? She just passed away. Since when did we, the Majora spirit, compel us to disrespect one of our elders who has passed away just because we didn't agree with the politics, just because we say that she didn't take it far enough, when most of y'all are armchair revolutionaries anyway, and y'all ain't did a damn thing. Y'all ain't put in no work. Like, what work have you really put in? Have you really been knocking on doors trying to get petitions signed to change laws? I have. I've got different laws passed in my state that has never been passed in any other state for police accountability. I've been in the trenches. I've had to go and get people to sign up by the thousands to get laws changed. I've fought against the gentrification. I've put my life on the line. I've put in hours and labor and money to really be on the streets doing things. If you haven't done these things, and the only contribution you have is online, commenting and sharing and posting. Listen, there's a need for that. We do need influencers that are doing things like that. But if the only thing you've ever done is clickety clack, post, share, and then disrespect those who've just passed, you ain't did shit. Your criticism is outweighing your contribution. If your criticism outweighs your contribution, then shut the fuck up right now. Sit down and be humble, bitch. Not a good look. Because the next generation may look at us because they'll have more information, because they'll start further up progressively. They may look back at us like, oh, how come they didn't do whoop-de-whoop? Maybe we just didn't know. Maybe things changed to the point to where now that's something that the next generation sees that we didn't see. So is it right for them to disrespect us? Should they disrespect us when we pass on? Just have some codification, man, to where we don't get online disrespecting and just, oh, hell, great, good. Like when what you're saying is in line with white supremacists, there's a problem. When you're celebrating the death, this is why like Tariq Nasheed did what he did, which some people didn't understand, when he was celebrating, if you will, the life of O.J. Simpson. When we know O.J. Simpson wasn't a writer for us. He didn't purposely undermine us. He just wasn't a writer for us. But the reason why he took the stance of he was a great man and he was innocent was because he knew after he passed that the white supremacists was going to do all they could to destroy his image. So just to be codified, just to neutralize that energy and bring a little balance, he decided to take the approach that he took. Did you not understand that? Did you miss that? So in that same regards, what we're not going to do is get online disrespecting Sheila Jackson Lee because we don't agree with her politics, because she wasn't radical enough. She did what she thought would be necessary and progressive for her and her age and her time. And I don't care if she was Jamaican, she was Caribbean, that doesn't make her a tether by itself. What she was doing was what she thought would be best and progressive for our people based on her experience of someone born in the 40s and raised in the 50s and 60s, where she couldn't drink from the same water fountain, where grown men and women around her would be called boys and girls, when they still would have lynch mobs. She may have been alive with a fresh memory of what happened to Emmett Till. She came from that generation. So for her, what she sees today, what she saw today, these days and times, was great progress. And she put in initiatives that she thought would complement or accelerate that progress. We could reflect retroactively to say, well, here's where we're at now. Here's where we need to go. It's our time to take the baton, just like it's going to be the youth behind us time to take the baton. And we're not going to successfully do that by disrespecting. We don't have to agree with everything. There's things that she did, or maybe stagnation of the HR 40. But if there was no HR 40, perhaps we wouldn't be where we're at right now in the reparations movement. And we had to learn from the mistakes of those past attempts. So put some respect, man. Put some respect on her name. Or at least don't purposely go out there to disrespect her name. Don't align yourself with white supremacists. What the fuck is that? I'm out.